welcome back. It's been a minute since we had this discussion, but I'm so happy that, as always, you have been following us on our social media handles on Coaching for Impact. My name's Newton Sierra, and it's an honor to be back here.
Nadine Ocheng here, and how time flies. I actually feel like we recorded the other session just the other day, but Happy New Year if it's not too late to you.
Oh,
and
yes.
Welcome to this wonderful session today.
It's 18th of February, so time has really gone. We should, when we started last year, we were talking about planning for the year.
Yes.
And, I'm hoping that people did get time to be able to reflect. But talking about today's topic, Pastor Dennis, we were chatting about this discussion of the path least walked. There's so many paths that people tend to follow, but there are certain paths that we see that people hardly want to. They are afraid, or they are not so confident. Yet maybe it's one that really is defining for their life. What is your understanding of this?
I think my understanding of this is, I think I'm a rebel at heart, first of all. And one thing I like about myself is I don't like going with the norm. Sometimes I feel like, why is everyone going the same direction? What if good lies on the other end? And I think when we are talking about the path least walked, actually this is what it means. That if you want to achieve anything bigger in life, if you want to make a difference, then you can't think like the rest. You must separate yourself and think differently. You must ask yourself questions that others are afraid of asking. Number 3, you must take risks that others are scared of taking them. Yeah, from my judgment, that's what I would say. The path least walked look like.
Interesting.
Like that.
For me, and I know we've had something very similar in our discussions before. I feel like the path least walked defines those who want to get out of the comfort zone.
That's very
In
true.
fact, if anything, we and I know we call it like the fear zone. When you begin to step out, you begin to actually move to paths that people rarely get to venture into. And sometimes this could be in your personal life, it could be in your professional life. I had a very interesting talk last week because we had a talk for women called The Art of War. It's based on a book by a similar topic called The Art of War for Women.
Yes.
And this was just
For
post-Valentine's.
women, nowadays they have to do something.
I tell you.
Yes.
And one of the interesting things about this book called The Art of War for Women, it really also was just defining that if you're going to be able to venture out, if you think like a general, you're asking yourself, what do I need to do that's going to be different? And for me, I feel like it really resonates with that aspect of the path least walked. But maybe I should start with our personal lives. Are there areas that you feel like people really should challenge themselves and take that path? It might not be the most popular one, but it might be one that can really make a difference in your life. What would that mean for you?
I think for me, number 1 is how you define your relationships. I think that for me is very key, being a pastor, because I realize like society has put norms around everything we do. Now, sometimes if you don't wake up to challenge, you may look like you are the black sheep. And actually, Newton, when you think about it, most of our upbringing has been that you have to do things the way we do them as a family, right? Now, as you mature and grow up, you realize my values are telling me what I'm doing doesn't really make sense, right? Yes. But because we want to fit in, then you find yourself living a double life. So there is the part of you that is pulling you on the other side that this is not what you should be doing. You actually are meant for more. But there's the other side that makes you feel like you want to fit in. And so for me, if I would talk about this, I'll talk about number 1, relationships. Number 2, your work and work ethic. You can go into an environment, and for us who have been to government offices or any other office, you always realize there's a culture in every office you go in. But some cultures are really terrible because you feel like, man, this shouldn't be happening in an office. If this is a place where you feel you've been equipped to come serve and give your best, there's something that should challenge you every morning. You can't just come feeling lethargic, sit down, wait, and then say, no, we don't have this today, come another day. It actually shows you how someone can become so lazy because of the culture around that. Those two, for me, I feel defines that.
And I like what you've mentioned, Pastor D. And again, As always, we ask our audience that please feel free to ask any questions or give us a comment. We'd be happy to answer. What I see from where I sit is that often the most popular is not the least walked.
That's very
And when you
true.
find that you're fitting into the crowd,
Yes.
chances are you're not taking the path that is least
Very true.
walked.
Very true.
And it's interesting because I think just speaking on what you have said, we've been saying that life moves so fast.
Yeah.
You know, we've again mentioned here before about finding your purpose, being clear about it. The path least walked challenges you.
Very
It
true.
pushes you to be better than who you are.
Very
And I think for most people, even as we are starting this year, what we are also really encouraging our audience today, for those that are listening, for those that are watching, that you need to ask yourself, are you walking the path least walked in your personal life? And sometimes there are areas that you need to be challenging, questioning, and being able to be different.
That's true.
But I guess also it's important even in your professional life to also ask on the same. When it comes to your work life, when it comes to your interactions with other people, what would you say is some of the things that people need to keep in mind as part of the path least walked? Again, I'm looking at the date here, that it's the 18th. What would that mean? Yes.
I think for me, as I talk of in light of life itself and the outputs, my realization is that I need to be very strategic. Number one, I need to know who are the right people around me. That's for sure. If you don't have the right people, Newton, you don't have the support system to actually take that path. Now, the path that is least walked means it's a lonely path. I think, Newton, from the onset, you need to realize that if indeed you're walking a path and you realize this one seems to be bushy, there's a danger on that.
You're many.
Yeah, we are many on this one. It looks good.
Yes.
But this other one looks like there's a danger lurking ahead. And it's so easy, actually, if you don't have champions around you. And this, for me, is what is key. If you don't have champions around you to cheer you to take that path and to make sure that they're holding you accountable to follow that path, it means you are taking a path to, first of all, self-discovery. Number two, to fulfill your potential that you have within you. Number three, to bring effect and affect the society differently. Now, that path, not everyone wants to take it. Remember, our society today, Newton, is very selfish society. We think about us and what we gain, other than the impact we are leaving for people. And yet, one of the things, Newton, that really has challenged my life in the scripture is like no one gets to write, actually, rather you never get to write your own obituary.
That's a very powerful point.
Other people write it for you.
Except,
Yes.
and I know I don't want to jump the gun,
Yes,
that
yes,
we'll
yes.
be coming to saying, how do you think about
Yes,
the end?
Yes.
But for me, and even as we wrap up, we really want this year, as part of our Coaching for Impact, to give you very short and crisp
Yes,
messages that can change your life.
Yes.
Is that you need to challenge yourself. Are you walking the path that is least walked? That is least walked.
Yes, that's very
What
true.
would be your parting shot for our audience today?
My parting shot is I have been a parent for the last 17 years. So my 9-year-old comes to me and we're having a discussion. And this is something that never existed in the times before. So we're having a discussion and there came an argument about something that was to be done. And then my daughter looks at me and says, Dad, why does it always have to be done the way you are saying it should be done? And for once I paused and say, wait a minute. And truly, why does it have to be done the way I'm saying it is done? Have I really questioned why it is being done that way? And if a 9-year-old can challenge me to think that way, the 9-year-old is particularly telling me, take a different path. Don't parent like everyone else. The generations are changing. Embrace what is coming. So I think that would be my parting shot to someone who is watching us today.
No, and fantastic. I think for me, as we start on 2025, I want you to ask yourself, for those that are watching this, for those that are listening on their earphones or buds, ask yourself, am I walking the path that is least walked? Or am I walking the popular path? And what do I stand to gain? Because for every sacrifice that you make and take that path that is least walked, you're much more likely to be pursuing your purpose and to know what you want to be able to achieve. That's our prayer for you, and thank you so much. We look forward to having you in our next session.
See you next
See you.
time.